This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
And we begin at 5 with breaking news. Former First Lady Rosalynn Carter has passed away. A mental health activist, humanitarian, and a champion of women's rights. Carter is remembered for her life of service. She was 96 years old. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush. Eleanor Rosalynn Carter served as First Lady from 1977 to 1981. She was married to President Jimmy Carter. Lester Holt has a closer look at her life and legacy.
It's now my pleasure to introduce someone whom I love and respect and cherish, my wife, Rosalynn.
She was Jimmy Carter's partner, best friend, and closest advisor in and out of the White House for more than 3/4 of a century. Soft-spoken, politically savvy, and fiercely determined, Rosalynn Carter was known as the Steel Magnolia, and she made the role of First Lady her own. Born Rosalynn Smith in Plains, Georgia, she was a neighbor to Jimmy Carter, 3 years her senior. They married in 1946 when she was 18.
Rose and I have been equally and totally dedicated partners, even when I was still earning a living as a peanut farmer.
Jimmy ran the family farm. Rosalynn helped manage the business. They raised a family, 3 sons, and later daughter Amy. Jimmy got into politics, elected Georgia governor in 1970, then running for president with Rosalynn's enthusiastic support. The small-town girl with a poor family who never finished college thrived on the national stage.
Every day I see things that I think I could help with, or things that I want to learn more about.
But faced with a troubled economy and a painful hostage crisis, Carter lost to Ronald Reagan in 1980. And the Carters returned to Plains. They founded the Carter Center and together began a remarkable decades-long post-presidency devoted to human rights, international diplomacy, eradicating disease, and year after year building low-income housing with Habitat for Humanity. In 1999, they were awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I think now is one of the happiest times of my life. There is life after the White House.
Through it all, she remained her husband's greatest champion.
It irritates me when people say he's been a good former president. He was a good president. I don't worry about his place in history.
As for her own place in history, Rosalynn Carter was characteristically modest.
Reimagining an historic church turned skate park. 5 months after flames destroyed nearly everything inside Skate Laborious, the founders are looking to the future. Today, the skate park's founders were joined by architects and community members for a public brainstorming session. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay highlights how hope is still alive for this safe haven in North St. Louis.
Surrounded by a gate with boarded up doors.
This church had a different congregation in the last decade.
For the past 5 months, this has been the picture for the sanctuary on Hogan and Market Street.
We're doing pretty good. A lot of work going on over here.
The historic landmark turned skate park went up in flames during the summer.
We had a bunch of fundraising stuff, people supporting us a lot.
The fire not only destroying nearly everything inside, but now the rubble is keeping artists and skaters outside, without that safe harbor they had come to rely on.
It was a congregation of youth that don't always have another place to go or a space to go that is safe.
Gabe McGee's architecture firm is hoping to breathe new life into Skate Laborious, all while knowing the place of peace will never be restored to its former glory.
The masonry structure is intact and seems to be in good shape overall and able to be reused with a new vision.
That new vision was laid out across tables inside Create Place Sunday with blank canvases hoping to be filled with fresh ideas.
We got a bunch of architect types, people from Rankin, all kinds of places from all over St. Louis to come through.
While having the technical players there was key to envisioning what the future could be, co-founder Brian Bedwell knew the design meeting had to involve those who looked at the skate park as their home.
Our whole thing has been community. You know, we're part of our community here. We're trying to be the best we can for our community, and you know, that involves having the community come out and tell us what they want to see.
While the crime scene tape lingers and the windows remain open, one thing the fire didn't destroy was the hope that remains in this North St. Louis community.
We're not giving up. We're here. We're not leaving this area. We want to keep this thing moving forward, and just bear with us and stick with us.
Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
Well, on a cloudy November day as we head into Thanksgiving week, let's head over to meteorologist Gary Frank for a look at your weather first forecast.
Yeah, we're for the first Sunday in a while, we're talking about rain arriving. Clouds have started to settle in as it really felt like a Sunday, although temperatures have warmed up a little bit. And you'll notice how as that rain gets closer to us, it is kind of falling apart, hitting that dry air, but it will eventually win over our entire area, and we'll finally start to see some rain. Temperatures, though, still in the mid-50s. That's right around average, but we got above that today. Still in the mid-50s the rest of the evening. Temps headed for the 40s. A slight chance of rain before midnight. Not a huge issue. I think overall the week ahead, finally some rain, pretty nice holiday, and then much colder weather. We'll track that, how it impacts your Thanksgiving and your travel plans in just a few minutes.
All right, Gary, thanks. Today, more than 30 sick premature babies were evacuated from Al-Shifa hospitals in South Gaza. It's the latest in a growing list of humanitarian issues in Gaza as calls for a ceasefire continue across the globe. The White House says negotiations around releasing hostages kidnapped by Hamas is ongoing. Rick Damigella has the latest.
Talks have intensified recently for the release of hostages being held by Hamas. The White House says officials have been working around the clock to secure their release.
What I can say about this at this time is we think that we are closer than we have been perhaps at any point since these negotiations began weeks ago.
Hamas abducted about 240 people, including some Americans, during the October 7 attacks, according to Israeli officials, though official accounts have varied as intelligence in Gaza develops.
I really believe that it's time for the Israeli government and the United States government to work out a fair deal to bring some of these hostages home.
Pressure is growing on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to reach a deal for their safe return. Qatar has been acting as a mediator between Israel, Hamas, and the United States.
There are areas of difference and disagreement that have been narrowed, if not closed out entirely.
Family members have grown impatient as they worry about their loved ones being held.
For me, yeah, of course I'm frustrated. I want to see them home now.
And the war continues to rage in Gaza. On Saturday, a blast occurred at a United Nations-run school being used as a shelter in Gaza. It is unknown what caused the blast, and Israel says an investigation is underway.
We're also in touch with the Israelis to try to find out what they know about what happened. Is that if harm was done to innocent civilians sheltering at a UN site, that would be totally unacceptable.
I'm Rick Damigella reporting.
Rallies continue across our area this weekend. Today, hundreds gathered in St. Charles in support of Israel. People came together in Frontier Park with flags and signs with photos of the hostages who were taken by Hamas. Empty strollers were used to bring attention to the youngest hostages. And in St. Louis, a group supporting Palestinians also held a rally. American Muslims for Palestine held a rally calling for a ceasefire. Organizers of the protest said they want to see an immediate end to the bombing in Gaza, and they also want to see an end to the occupation in the West Bank. This past week, Congress passed a spending deal without money for the ongoing war in Israel. And tonight on The Record, we hear more about the calls for a ceasefire from one local senator. Here's a preview.
Dick Durbin was the first U.S. senator to call for a ceasefire in Gaza with one key caveat. He explains his stand and reacts to President Biden's meeting with China's President Xi Jinping Sunday night on The Record right after Sports Plus.
It's about to be the busiest travel week of the year. The tips you might need to know before Thanksgiving.